It's Friday, July 6th, and time for your Barbados Today morning news update. Thanks for joining us. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. A last-minute decision by former Prime Minister and outgoing President of the Democratic Labour Party, Frondell Stewart, to abruptly end the party's signature lunchtime lectures has left one party elder fuming. It has also left the former Minister of Commerce, Donville Innes, hanging as he was scheduled to deliver today's lecture entitled Barbados and the DLP, The Future is Now. Stewart announced a cancellation of the lectures following a meeting with the DLP Executive Council on Wednesday night. And while Innes could not be reached for comment, the decision did not sit well with party elder Astor B. Watts, in whose honor the lecture series was renamed last year. An incensed Watts told Barbados Today he has no intentions of allowing Stewart to have the final say on the matter. In fact, he said the former Prime Minister could, quote, go to hell if he did not know right from wrong, end quote. The Customs and Excise Department has been hit by processing delays and it's affecting the clearing of goods. The development comes against the backdrop of recent concerns by local businessmen that the 10% National Social Responsibility Levy, which was removed on July 1, was still showing up on their customs invoices. Since then, Acting Minister of Finance, Ryan Strawn, gave an assurance that the matter would be rectified. However, a breakdown has occurred in the processing system. In a statement yesterday, Acting Controller of Customs, Annette Weeks, explained that due to an overload, persons trying to access the system were either being knocked off or cashiers were experiencing a hanging effect and had to wait for a period of time before completing transactions. Barbados recorded a 10% unemployment rate last year. That's up 0.3% from the 9.7% recorded in 2016. According to latest data from the Barbados Statistical Service, the unemployment rate among males stood at 9.8% compared to 10.1% among females. The wholesale and retail trade sector generated the most jobs last year, employing 20,300 persons, followed by the accommodation and food services sector, which employed 15,000 persons, and the construction, mining and quarrying sector, which employed 13,300 persons. The Barbados Road Safety Association renews calls for the immediate implementation of breathalyzers testing, saying the crop over season is as good time as any to introduce the measure. BRSA President Charmaine Roland Bowen says crop over is normally associated with heavy drinking, and the government need not waste any time in enforcing the relevant section of the Amendment Road Traffic Act, which gives police officers the authority to request a breath sample from drivers suspected to be under the influence.
This is the time of the year, especially, where people are going to be drinking and driving. People are going to be driving tired, people are going to be speeding on the road, to get from one location to the other. And still, we are not, it is about time, and I see this as a priority. It is about time, we raise the breathalyzer. That's what I'm asking as a question. I understand that with the last amendment, there are some things that need tweaking. So because there are some things that need tweaking, looking over, and make better off, it doesn't mean that it needs to be laying there on the desk. It is not help sitting on the desk.
Barbados pledges to keep its ongoing cooperation with Venezuela strong. Minister in the Ministry of Foreign Trade, Sandra Husbands, gave the assurance last evening on the occasion of Venezuela's 207th anniversary of independence.
As the world continues to grapple with the effects of one of the worst financial and economic crises of our times, the government of Barbados has charted a path to pursue a range of initiatives in order to meet our international and domestic obligations, as well as to harness our capacity to move forward positively in these rapidly changing times. Barbados is aware that the need to create closer hemispheric ties depends largely on the cooperation and collaboration among the countries in the hemisphere. Our shared historical, cultural, and institutional linkages create a foundation through which we can deepen our cooperation. And to this end, Barbados pledges its ongoing cooperation and consultation with Venezuela on matters of mutual concern with the aim of confronting the challenges that face us individually and as a region.
Sports now. After a two-day break, the FIFA World Cup 2018 resumes in Russia today with the last 8th stage of the competition. Following a 2-0 victory over Cristiano Ronaldo's Portugal, Uruguay take on an impressive France side at 10 a.m. However, the day's feature game, which plays at 2 p.m., will see tournament favorites Brazil go head-to-head with Belgium. The quarterfinals will continue on Saturday with Sweden playing England and host nation Russia battling against Croatia.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To news from the region now, Vincentian Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves to make another attempt at making the Caribbean Court of Justice his country's final court. He made the comment during Wednesday's swearing-in ceremony of Justice Adrian Saunders as the new president of the region's highest court.
It is a matter of great regret that the country from which he hails, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, is not as yet a member of the CCJ in its appellate jurisdiction. I tried in 2009 and failed. Maybe I will try again. He is a magnificent symbol. And as I repeated elsewhere, we should not be engaged in lamentations at all about the court or anything in the Caribbean. Morning by morning, new mercies we see. All that we need, thy hand hath provided. Great is thy faithfulness. We have a faithful son.
And finally, on the international scene, U.S. authorities are moving some migrant parents to detention sites closer to where their children are being kept. This as Washington attempts to meet a court-imposed deadline to reunify families. More in this Reuters report.
Alex Azar, Secretary of Health and Human Services, or HHS, told reporters Thursday that there are nearly 3,000 separated children in government custody, a figure far higher than his department released over a week ago. HHS had previously reported that it had 2,047 children from separated families in its care, about 100 of whom are less than 5 years old. A judge last month ordered the government to stop separating families and to reunify the youngest children by July 10th and all children by July 26th. There is also a deadline by Friday for children to be in phone contact with their parents. The family separation policy has sparked widespread protest and criticism, causing President Donald Trump to sign an executive order last month ordering the policy halted. But on Thursday, Trump demanded that Congress pass laws allowing undocumented immigrants to be deported without due process.
And that's news and sports. But for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper email updates and like us on Facebook and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Do have a wonderful day.